I thought this would be a fun fan fiction idea. I thought this would be kind of a little fun, little story to talk about, because it's been on my mind as of late. And it's actually a subject I'm surprised Marvel hasn't really dived deeper into. I'm really surprised that this is a subject that Marvel hasn't really, dived further into because there's a major implication I've always thought of with Thor. There's always been a major implication when it comes to Marvel Comics Thor. And the closest we ever got was a little bit in the 90s. We had a little bit of the 90s era comics with, I think it was, Dan Jurgens, who kind of touched his toes on this. And then there was in Jason Aaron's run. But nothing really went too deep into it. The closest further would be Jason Aaron's Thor run. And the subject is, why would anyone go to church if Thor is right there? Because, no, really, when you really think about it, Thor is basically... Thor's a god. And everyone knows that the Norse pantheon is real. Hell, they hung out in a little bumfuck town in Oklahoma where they just went out and had coffee with them all the time. That's literally, Matt Fraction's run, now that I remember, Matt Fraction's story arc with Galactus also dealt with this a bit, but, no one really goes into the whole implication of Thor, the god of thunder, is here, and people talk to God all the time, and he barely shows up. And keep in mind, God is a real thing. Heaven is a real thing in the Marvel universe, but he don't show up at all. The one above all doesn't care at all. It doesn't seem like he's the one above it all right? He's above all the rest of you. So, anyway... realistically, you would think that Thor, the moment Thor shows up in the real world and is like, hey, I'm the god of thunder, I'm the real god of thunder, the Norse prayed to, Krakoom, bitches. I guarantee you, every major church would probably have a major, drop in people going to it. So, yeah. It was just, the implications would be a lot. So we're actually, this story I thought of is actually going to go into those implications. So, yeah. So this story starts out as your typical Thor storyline, where Thor's just out having an adventure. He's fought the Wrecking Crew, and he gets a call from someone. He gets a call from a man who claims, we met once. And Thor's like, oh, I know this guy. He's just a character for the storyline. So Thor goes to this guy. He's like, hey, what's up? And the guy's like, look, you don't remember me, but, you helped me in a dark time. And he's like, odd, I save a lot of people. And he's like, no. The guy's like, no, Thor, listen to me. You were there for my mom. And my mom had cancer. And I was a very devout Christian. And I would go to the church for help, I would pray, my mom would pray, and nothing seemed to help. All my pastor did was, make sure that I was giving more money to the church. I was giving money to the church and making sure I would have, tithes on time. He was part of, these big mega churches. And, the big thing was, he was guys, church, you gotta help me. He's like, no, the power of my faith will, help your mother. And then, on a happenstance, he's just seeing, Thor fly by the hospital where his mom's at, and he's like, hey, he says, Thor, please come. And Thor hears that little prayer, and Thor arrives, and he's like, hi, what's up? And Thor, while he can't fix the cancer, he's there. He's there for this woman, and he spends the whole day with her until she dies. Until, the cancer finally takes her life. And the man left after that, and Thor was like, that was weird, but I got, it was nice to help that woman in her final hours. So now here he is with that guy again, and the guy's like, look, you were there, I prayed to God for weeks to at least give me a sign that everything was going to be okay. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I say, Thor, please see us. You came faster than lightning. You came to us when we didn't. And I'm not the only one here. So he explains to Thor that there have been a resurgence in the Norse religion. There's been this massive resurgence for a lot of people because they're like, yeah, where was God? Like a lot of like one person explains, where was God when my parents were beating me and throwing me into a gay conversion camps where I was tortured? Where was God when I was left paralyzed after a car accident, and the church, all they said was God is with you, and left? Where was God when they were spending money, and when these preachers were saying the word of the Lord and saying all this stuff about poor people, and at the same time buying like a third private jet? Like, what was, where was God and all that? And the other thing is, like, yeah, we know God is real. We've seen demons, so by that standard, because there's been invasions from hell before, so by that account, they're like, yeah, if there are demons, then there's obviously angels, and there's obviously a heaven. So why does he not care about us anymore? And Thor's like, whoa, this is too heavy for me. I can't answer that, but I'm very thankful you guys wanted to, start your own religion. You guys take care of each other. And Thor is like, he's like, oh, this is cool. This is just like the old days. Like, this is fun. Thor is like, yeah, it's like the old days where they prayed to the Norse gods, where I was fighting with Vikings and whatnot. And he basically tells them, look, you guys just take care of yourselves. I can't answer why your god, doesn't answer. That's not my department. I know he's there, but I can't speak to him. But you guys can talk to me. I don't know if I can help you. And like Thor stresses that I don't know if I can help every one of you. I'm not, I can't heal people. I can't, I can bring storms. If you guys need rain, I'm your god. I'm your god. And they're like, and the people are like, oh yeah, we know, Thor. We know you can't do that. We just like it that you listen. You save us. You save the planet. You literally have stopped ends of the world. Where, you're literally doing work. And the church is like, and Thor at first is like, oh, this is cool, this is fun, I'm a go now. So, he goes back to, Thor goes back to Avengers Mansion, and he runs into Cap and Tony and Steve, who are like, hey Thor, a word please. So, yeah, we heard that your religion's coming back, and you're cool with it? The media found out, you didn't tell us, and he's like, oh, okay, look, guys, that wasn't my call. It's cool. They're worshiping me, and they're like, do you not understand what implications that is? That the gods are real? And Thor's like, yeah, we've talked about this. I'm a literal god. Yeah, I'm the god of thunder, and yeah, Steve, you've never questioned me on, your faith. You've always thought that God was with you. Tony, you've never believed in God. You've always believed in science, and that's in of itself a form of God. And you've done a lot of different things in the name of your gods, whether in the name of your country or your freedom, or you in the name of science, which you have completely ignored. Think on that, assholes. So Thor, Cap, and Steve have, this big conversation about, what that means that Thor is now, that religion is back, that version of Norse mythology. And Steve says, okay, Thor, if Valhalla is such a great place, why do people have to human sacrifice for that? And he's like, okay, dude, that was not me. I didn't tell people to kill other people to do that. In fact, little known fact, we tried to stop that. We tried to stop the human sacrifice thing, but you know how mortals are, right? Because Thor's just living it up. He thinks this is so cool, but the more, he's seeing that people are, these mega churches are coming out with, they can't sue him because obviously you can't stop being Thor, obviously, and Thor didn't create bring back this religion, so you can't really stick it to him, but they're demonizing him, saying he's a false god and he is the devil incarnate and all that. And Thor, of course, does not take well to this. In fact, he even goes to these mega church, one of these mega churches, and is like, heard you was talking shit. Let's talk about it. So Thor, even the people who are like, look, I never claimed that your god wasn't real. I never claimed that he didn't care. I'm just, it's your decision. and I will be there. I don't know, maybe your God is with you in his own way. I am going about my own way. So, yeah, so people are still going to these mega churches because they're so, like, even Thor notes, they're so, like, ingrained in this, what they think is faith, but really it's more like just indoctrination. And Thor is like, yeah, these people are like, this is like, like even Cap notes, it's total indoctrination. These are not real, like, Cap has a real problem with these mega churches and these mega preachers. Like, he has a major problem with them, because he's like, I've seen this before, and the last person who had this kind of hold on people sent other people to death camps. And Thor points out that, yeah, not every priest is like this. Like, not every person, every preacher wants this. In fact, he even goes to a local church and runs into a priest, and he's like, Father, I wanted to talk to somebody with a, and you seem to be someone with a head on your good head on his shoulders. I forgot to mention that this priest I wanted to have in this story is like the in between. Like, he preaches the word of God, and he's not like, ever, like, he donates to charities. He doesn't keep any of the money. He makes sure it goes to the churches, to poorhouses. But he's also like, his faith is shaken a bit because, yeah, Thor is a thing. Like, Thor, Odin, they're all a thing. Asgard's a thing. Olympus is a thing. And he's like, yeah, I've prayed to God before, and he never appeared to me. Like, not even as, like, a vision. I've never even seen one angel come down and go, hi. But he's like, look, I still believe, because I still think, like, my faith in people is stronger than maybe, like, the preacher's whole thing is like, maybe my faith in people is stronger than it is with my connection with God. Like, maybe that's why I keep doing this. Like, maybe that's why I keep going despite everything. And Thor is amazed by that. And even, like, when he looks back at, like, his own religion, like, people are, like, arguing about, like, faith in general is just kind of, like, causing people to be like, hey, maybe we should do human sacrifices for Thor, or animal sacrifices for Thor. And he's like, oh, Jesus Christ. What the hell? And he's like, don't do that. Yeah. So, by the end of it all, Thor is basically like, look, I can't acknowledge anyone here. Like, this religion is getting too much. I can't stop you from worshiping me, but I don't have to acknowledge you either. And that kind of, like, breaks people, like, that just kind of, like, upsets people, but people still pray to Thor, because it's like, one guy goes, yeah, we'll still pray to you because you're there. It's nice to have something that's there by the end of the day, and someone who cares about us, even if the people you save aren't worth it. So yeah, it's basically Thor it's not really Thor fighting a supervillain, it's more like Thor taking on theology. And not so much taking on, it's more like, this is what happens when you have a guy who's literally the god of thunder show up in modern times. It's literally that. Like, a real god just plops down and goes, sup, I'm Thor, the real god of thunder. And you don't think that would cause a crisis in theology? Yeah, so this story kind of, like, this was the idea I had for it. So, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this Thor story, which I believe I'm going to call it Thor, a God Among Men. So there you go. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this? Do you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. And once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.